Welcome back to another episode of 40 Facts About the 40K Universe. I am your host, Gershwan, and today we're going to be talking about the mysteries of the planet of Baran. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. We post Warhammer 40K lore videos every single day. If you have any suggestions or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. And if you enjoy our content, thank our patrons on Patreon. Link in the description if you guys want to support us. But with that said, let's get into 40 facts on the mystery of Baran. The planet of Baran was a lush and bountiful world, newly colonized by the Imperium of Man. For decades, humanity fought hard to push away the countless hordes of feral orcs roaming their planet. They built fortified cities that acted both as a defense and a staging ground for extermination campaigns against the fractured greenskin settlements. The Imperial colonizers became experts at laying waste to countless snakebite encampments, as these feral orcs did not possess the advanced technology of their spacefaring cousins. Instead, these feral orcs relied on primitive weapons and squig farming to wage war amongst each other. Capitalizing on the constant infighting amongst the greenskins, the colonists settled the majority of the planet and were well on their way to turn Baran into an angry world. Only the deep forest of the planet was safe from Imperial assault. This is where the greenskin population was now concentrated. As time went on, the Imperium began to notice significant technological leaps within the greenskin hordes coming out of the forests. Before any substantial expedition could be organized, countless cities reported abnormally large orc raids coming from the forests. It wasn't long before the Imperial High Command realized that these weren't simply large orc raids, but they were entire feral orc clans rushing out of their old homes. What was causing this mass exodus didn't matter to the Imperial Governor or his High Command. They were focused on surviving the wave after wave of greenskin hordes as each clan ferociously assaulted the fortress cities of Baran. The orcs' improved technology and relentless assaults were proving costly for the Baran siege masters. As the colony cities came under even more intense assault, the defenders realized their position was ultimately hopeless if they didn't receive support. Governor Azabera was able to dispatch what reserves he had from his capital city of Indera to the most isolated colonies, but realized that this was only a delaying measure at best. Azabera called upon the Raven Guard on their moon of Quran for aid. This request for support came to Shadow Captain Moradius, who chose not to deploy to the embattled fortress cities, as his forces were too few to effectively aid in the defense of so many isolated sieges. Captain Moradius was more concerned with what was driving the orcs from their forest than he was with the feral orcs themselves. Determined to discover the cause of the orc attacks, the Raven Guard returned to Baran, making only brief contact with the governor before they struck out for the deepest, wildest sections of the Baran's forests. As they searched the forest for signs of orcs, the Raven Guard discovered every greenskin settlement had been destroyed, every lair rooted out, and there was barely any orcs remaining. Something had destroyed the orc camps and driven them from the forest. The captain knew that such spontaneous and orchestrated activity across the entire planet was not likely to have been the result of the orcs' own infighting. With little else to discover in the forest, Moradius recalled his scout teams and took his warriors into the Vultus Plains, a barren region of the steppe plains where even the orcs did not establish settlements, choosing instead to roam the plains, riding giant boars, squigots, and other creatures as warring nomadic tribes. After a week of hard marching across the plains, the Raven Guard at last encountered the orcs, but the captain was not seeking to drive yet more orcs towards the fortress cities, and so broke off contact after a brief skirmish. After withdrawing from combat with the nomadic greenskins, the captain ordered his scout marines to shadow the orcs and watch for signs of the force that had driven the orcs from the forest. Days later, the scouts reported back that the greenskins were under attack. Without delay, the Raven Guard rushed to the orcs' tribe's location aboard 6 Thunderhawk gunships. Despite their haste, however, the orcs were wiped out by the time they arrived. The Raven Guard instead came face to face with the Eldar of Craftworld Bael'tan. Well versed in the slippery nature of the Eldar, Moradius ordered an immediate assault, striking at the Eldar forces rapidly and reaping a heavy toll in Xeno lives. The Eldar had apparently not planned for engaging the local Imperial forces so soon, and certainly had not counted on the presence of Space Marines. The Eldar force was unnerved by the speed and maneuverability of the Raven Guard assault. The Eldari had gotten used to the brutish and uncoordinated attacks of the feral greenskins, and so when a powerful enemy that specialized in lightning strikes fiercely opposed the Eldar, the entire force was scattered and uncharacteristically began an immediate defensive withdrawal. It seemed as if though every tactical maneuver performed by the host was predicted by the Space Marines, as scout units appeared almost as if out of thin air, ready to rain a hail of gunfire at the foe. The few Eldar warriors forced to engage the Sons of Corvus Corax were butchered in melee combat. It was as if the tables had turned, and the Eldar were now being dissected, little by little, similar to how they were slowly and methodically murdered by the Orks. Just when the engagement favored the Xenos, the Astartes would disengage and allow the Eldar to flee. But moments later, a new fresh unit would be waiting in ambush, ready to continue the conflict on more favorable terms. Captain Moradius used his perfectly trained tactical genius to precisely predict the Eldar weak points and arrange the moving assault around the target. While some of the fresh scout marines did fall, the casualties were completely tipped towards the Xenos. At times, the Eldar attempted to seek shelter, but it was impossible to hide in the open plains. The best the Eldari could do is attempt to lose the Raven Guard while crisscrossing the carcasses of Orc squigots and giant boars. Perhaps it was the curse of their Primarch, but the Raven Guard seemed to enjoy this cat-and-mouse game. They chased their enemy close enough to inflict damage, but far away enough to give the Eldar the hope of escape. The captain understood that the Raven Guard would have to secure victory, but the experience his scout marines were obtaining was priceless. For hours, the Astartes and the Eldar fought a running battle as the Space Marines slowly began to outnumber the Xeno force. They struck at the Eldar from all sides until the Xenos at last fell back to a circle of standing stones. These were ancient monuments from the days of the Eldar Empire's rule over Baran. You see, before the Imperium, even before the Orks, the planet of Baran was an Exodite colony. These Orthodox Eldari had settled this planet a long time ago, during the Eldar Empire's golden age, and the Imperium and the Orks were the real intruders. Nevertheless, resolving to crush the Eldar army decisively, the Raven Guard committed to the attack, but this was what the Eldar had wanted. As the Astartes closed in on the remaining Eldar forces, webway gates opened up from around the ring of standing stones. The Raven Guard found itself encircled by an entire Eldar swordwind that had been rampaging across the surface of Baran. Though they fought bravely, the Space Marines held out for only a few hours before they were utterly exterminated. The Eldar managed to open an entire webway gate on Baran's plain, from which Eldar Titans could emerge to join the battle. The defenders of Baran were swept from the world, which was reclaimed by the Eldar, though the Imperium and the Raven Guard vowed to retake it someday. And those were 40 facts on the mysteries of the planet of Baran. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope it inspires you and it teaches you that you could really have a lot of fun when creating these battles or campaigns, whether you're creating your own lore for your chapter or whatever army you're collecting, or you just want to create a simple backstory to a game you're about to play with a friend. Sitting down, getting both those armies, and maybe even throwing an extra bit of fluff. In this case, like if you had a Raven Guard army fighting against the Eldar, but then throwing in a little bit of fluff by introducing the Orks, maybe somehow tying it to the terrain or the table that you're going to be playing in, would be a lot of fun. This kind of stuff helps you create a narrative while you're playing, and also just gives you it just feels better when there's an actual background story to what you're doing. You're not just two people fighting, trying to kill as many units and models as possible, but actually having a story to go along with it is pretty awesome and fun. If you guys have any suggestions for any other battles or any other campaigns, please let me know in the comment section below. Also, any two factions. So if you need help creating the backstories, if you have a game coming up next week or something and you want me to create something for you for the week, let me know and I'll see what I can do. But again, if you guys enjoy our content, thank our patrons on Patreon. It is because of them that we can do this. Link in the description if you guys want to support us. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. This is Gershwan with One Mind Syndicate signing out.